If you like VR and Warhammer, I have something special for you today. Instead of using VR to shake our hips in VR chat, we're going to play a Warhammer VR game called Battle Sisters. So let's get into it. First off, the game starts with a bunch of lore pictures and some background that might give you an idea of what's going on in the world. So if you really like lore, it'll get you all moistened up for the rest of the game. They next throw you into a battle between two titans in a random field. And here you'll learn basic things like how to actually use guns and that they exist in the game and some just basic features. Guns in the game work pretty much how you would expect. You pull the trigger and it just shoots. That's pretty basic, and that's exactly how it works in the game as well. They do have a nice feature where you can press a button on the controller to eject the magazine automatically without having to actually do it yourself, which is kind of nice. You can also holster weapons on either shoulder as well as either hip, but I prefer the hips. And then they send you straight into the trenches. Here you'll see how the atmosphere is kind of really cool and interesting, especially for a Warhammer game. You don't normally get to see these kind of things. So it's really nice to be put into an actual setting in Warhammer and see the scale of everything. The graphics of the game are just okay, is how I would describe them. They're like the bare bones to get this game kind of done and make it actually work, but it's nothing special and it's not something that I would make noteworthy at all. And the game actually doesn't run as well as it should for the graphics being a little on the dated side. So we continue to the trenches, blasting on all these dudes' faces. You can also climb ladders with actual hand interaction, so that's kind of cool, I guess. And like any Call of Duty game, you have to have a scene in the beginning where you have a seated minigun that you blast a bunch of people with. And this game was actually pretty fun, and I liked the feel of the machine gun. It had this kind of pull on it that felt like it was actually attached to some kind of base, which made it kind of fun to use, and it was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole game. But then we have a tragedy scene where your battle sister dies and she gives her whole final speech before she finally gives in to her wounds. It's very sad, but we got heretics to purge, so off we go. I really liked the Cathedral area in the game. It was probably my favorite part. It had this big sense of grandness and it was really pretty, actually. It definitely wasn't me being in a room full of women who could definitely break me in half. Then this lady brings us on a really long walk through the entire cathedral. This takes forever. It takes like several minutes of just following this lady around. It's very not fun at all in the game, and I really wish they would just skip this entire section. It's nice being able to actually see the environment, but when you have to walk slowly next to someone like an escort mission, it becomes a lot less fun. I feel like in the amount of time it took to just follow this lady around, I could have cried in the shower, done my taxes, and read several books. It's like that long. And then hey look, you get the sword from the lady who died earlier. That's amazing. It's like a cool heirloom. Wait, never mind. Actually, it looks like all the other swords, and they take it away from you later. Amazing. It was really sad this portion of the game. They could have given you some special weapon or something like that, some unique item that you could use throughout the game, but instead it's just the normal sword and bolter. They give you this cool friendship bracelet that lets you use powers. The first power is pushing things away, which feels really clunky because you have to have your hand in a very specific position while pressing a button and pushing in a very straight line. So it's very unnatural and it feels pretty difficult to use in that you have to stop in the middle of combat and do a very specific move. So it works, but it's not great. Just like YouTube adblock in 2023, the sword can sometimes block things that you want, including bullets and any projectiles. Once we start to enter the next area, I get this feeling, this very special feeling in a very special spot. Yeah, that's right. I'm feeling that the entire game is going to be walking into a room, killing enemies, and then repeating that process over and over and over. Which, surprise, is exactly what this game seems to be. This predictability never made me feel like I was on my toes the entire duration of the game. It was pretty simple and straightforward, and you could see everything coming ahead of time, so there was no real surprises or anything like that. There aren't any puzzles or mini games or really much interaction either, so a majority of the game boils down to just going between room and room and killing all the enemies. I feel like this game could have been giving me the same experience even if it were on rails. So I feel like VR doesn't actually add much to this game, which is probably something I'm going to say throughout the video. It just feels like this game would have been better without it. The problem also is that the story is really approachable and they get you right into it, but there are these really big jumps throughout the story that kind of disturb your immersion because you're just teleporting randomly all over the universe, apparently. There's also not too much interaction in terms of VR with the actual story, which kind of feels like a missed opportunity. There also isn't much interaction or use of VR with the story. So there's one segment where you can pull little connectors off of the wall, but that's pretty much it. There isn't much interaction. A lot of the story actually feels like it's being told around you with other characters and that you're simply viewing it as an outside person and you're just shooting enemies between rooms, and that's kind of it. So the story doesn't actually have anything to do with VR, and it's basically just a normal horde shooter. There's kind of no reason for the story at the end of the day. If you're not actually interacting with it, then why not just make a normal game or just a VR shooting arena? You're probably wondering what this black screen is and thinking that maybe I did something wrong, but actually this is me trying not to throw up after playing this game for 45 minutes. This isn't my first time using VR, and I can definitely last more than 45 minutes. The amount of running around in this game made me pretty sick. They also have this teleportation system, basically like every other VR game, but it's done on the same joystick that you use to turn. So the issue that I was having is that when I was turning, sometimes I'd press down on it just the slightest amount, and it would cause me to teleport around randomly, which made me really sick every single time it happened. So now let's talk about the AI. TLDR, it's pretty bad. The melee guys will just run straight at you the entire time, regardless of anything else, and the people with guns will literally shoot at you and only in the head, and then if they can't see you anymore, they run at you just like the melee guys until they reach you, and then they start shooting you again. They don't switch to melee if they get too close or anything, so if they can see you, they shoot at you, and if they can't, they run at you, and that's pretty much the entire AI for enemies. It's really weird that they will also shoot past all of your allies. They simply don't target your allies at all. So that's about all the intelligence that the AI actually has. They will shoot past and run past all of your allies. They will do anything in their power to get a little bit of that player ass. I think that's my one curse word for this video. Is that how that works? I don't remember. This creates a meta where it actually makes sense to just spawn the room of enemies and then hide until your allies just kill all of them, because they will just expose themselves to your allies the entire time and they never target your allies. It also doesn't take long for your allies to just wipe everyone in the game, it seems, so you can just hide behind a corner for maybe 15 seconds and the room is clear. It's kind of insane. It's too easy to do that. It feels really awkward having allies who aren't being targeted at all and kind of just awkwardly walk around you the whole time. It's really weird, like they're basically turrets at the end of the day. But check out this really cool las gun. It's probably my favorite gun in the game. Do you see those headshots over there? That's amazing. I think I deserve a sub and a like, thank you. I really did love the las gun though. They had this like little light on the side of the gun that would tell you like how full the battery is, which is kind of cool. And I really enjoyed the whole feel of it. It was kind of, I liked it a lot better than the bolt guns actually. Next we get introduced to this new melee dude who likes to fly around and stab you. The issue with this guy is the same as all the others, which is the AI. He will just jump past all of your allies and just go straight for you, exposing himself to both of your allies who just blast them as soon as they get to you. It's pretty basic AI, and it feels like it was something that a high schooler did for their first AI program. Every enemy, no matter what they are, will just run at you or shoot at you, and if they can't see you, they run at you, and that's pretty much the entire AI. This is the part that I mentioned earlier where you pull out the little circuits or whatever out of these machines to turn it off, which was really nice. It was kind of nice to actually drive the story using some kind of interaction, which I feel like should have been done more throughout the game, but it just wasn't. And honestly, that's as far as I got in the game, about an hour and a half in, and I could not play any more. I was so sick. So that's probably one of the bigger issues with this game for me, is that it made me ridiculously sick, and I don't normally get that sick in VR, so I'm not really sure. I think it was a combination of the running around, the turning, and the teleporting. All of that just made the duration of time I could play this game pretty limited. I really do understand the mixed reviews for this game, and apparently it doesn't even work on all headsets. I was using the Oculus 2 and it ran fine for me. I didn't have any crashes or anything like that, but it did make me just really sick. So make sure you read the reviews before you consider buying this game, dependent on what kind of VR headset you have. Overall, I thought this game was pretty mid. It was something that I feel like would have been better without VR, and it didn't need VR at all. So it wasn't the best game I've played, and definitely not the best VR game. I enjoyed myself at times, but I can do that myself without spending $20. So in my opinion, I probably wouldn't recommend this game to people. It's just okay. You'd have a better time playing pretty much any other Warhammer game, especially if it's not in VR. So I would say skip this one and save your money. But what you shouldn't skip is leaving a comment and a like below in the video. Make sure to also join our Discord server where we hang out and play games. Let me know what you thought about the video, what I might have missed, and what are your thoughts on the game if you've tried it out. Thank everyone who supports me through Discord, subscriptions, Twitch, and coffee. I really do appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this style of video, let me know. I'm still experimenting with different kinds of styles of making my videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.